laptop at work because I had some other things going on. So we're going to take a risk and just operate off the one machine tonight. We'll see how that goes. It's been 9 months since it screwed me over, so we'll see if it even realizes the other laptop's not here. Shouldn't announce that. All right. Good evening, guys. Ken and Tortoise Capital. This is let's see, small group coaching cohort 1, February 3rd, 2025. And we're all aboard and ready to go. So I created a writing style called AIIO, AI optimized. And it also stands for accurate, informative, optimized language. Here's my logic. AI is here to stay. Humans that can work with AI and get the most out of it are going to do better than others that can't. If you want to do good with AI, then you should learn how to talk to it in a way that maximizes understanding and clarity from the get-go. If you want to know how to talk to the AI, you ask the AI. And you end up, once you sort that out, defining a writing style that is based on the following kinds of principles. Clear, concise, complete, eliminates everything except that which is necessary and sufficient, incorporates the design sensibilities of poetry and haiku to communicate complex topics elegantly with a human touch, but also the elegance of mathematical proofs in geometry and algebra, the precision of pseudocode, and incorporate a visual display of the text that embodies the best practices of visual display of information. So careful use of markdown language and organizing things on the page the way it would optimize for speed reading, putting things in expected places, and then also respecting the time, attention, purpose, and knowledge of your reader. Give them a chance to have a vote. That's the way general officers like to receive information. Executive summaries, bottom line up front, no fluff. And when you combine the visual elements, you get something like this, where you say, hey, the 5 design principles of AI include, sub-bullet 1 bold, be clear and concise, period. And then to the right of that, a sentence that explains in normal text why you want to be clear and concise and what that means. And then it moves to the next bullet, which is probably logically organized, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I look at that and I'm reading the bold header that says the 5 design principles are clear and concise. Well, I know what that means. So I don't have to read to the right to see what it means. I already am confident that I know what clear and concise means. And if I don't know, by the time I get to the end of that paragraph, I can go back and look. So I can see 5 design principles: clear and concise, logically organized, simple and elegant, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I like that so much that I had it design a style sheet that summarized all of that. Then I said, now write me an introduction to the field guide that would be used to teach people how to use that style. So it did in beautiful, simple prose. And the introductory section had 5 paragraphs with 2 or 3 sentences per paragraph. It says, where it came from, what it's supposed to do, and all that. But even then, I noticed that in a paragraph block of text, you still have to go find the topic sentence, the thesis, the one point that we want to make in that paragraph. You have to go find it. So I then said, take that nicely written introduction and rewrite it in pure AIO style as an example of itself in use. And the difference between a well written introduction with text and prose and the introduction written in AIO is so staggering that you can read it 3 times faster with better comprehension and recall. It's astonishing. It's so good that I sent it to the full colonel up in DA at Department of Army, who's now the chief of staff of the Army's public affairs office, really responsible for all of the Army's uh, public speaking and face to the world. He used to be the chief of staff at our installation, and I worked with him before. He moved to that position. Now he's an instrument of power. I sent it up to him and said, look here, sir, this is so good that we need to update the Army's writing standard to this instead of the other old writing standard, which is still pretty good. The old writing standard, called the Army Writing Style, features writing at the 8th grade level, generally free of error, easily understood at a single rapid reading, employs active voice, eliminates passive voice, and helps old ladies across the street, which is pretty good. That's the end point in language that started off in the old days with Baroque language and then moved to flowery, pseudo scientific language and postmodern obscurantism, PhD, clumsy, So business English is better than that. It's simple, straightforward, to the point, and action oriented. Army effective writing style is a simplification of business writing that's designed to be at 8th grade level so that even monkeys like me can understand it when we're under stress and you're trying to just get the right answer from a field manual. So this AIO is already so much better. This is what I then did. So I've defined that writing style, and then I designed a strategic advisor which will take your half-formed brainstorm, brain dump, wall of words, unstructured, stream of consciousness, unorganized, and it'll run it through a degarbalizer called the Toolman argument model. It'll identify claims, evidence, rebuttals, reasoning, and it'll create a structured argument map out of your loosely organized material. And then it will ask you questions in order to clarify discrepancies, controversies, contradictions, or absences in order to populate and build out a complete argument in an organized manner that allows you to see the argument unfold and weigh the evidence. And it'll write it in that AIO style, and it'll iterate with you until you're satisfied with it. It is so damn good. I just can't get over how helpful it is. So the script, I think I uploaded it on Patreon. If not, I'll send it to you guys too. But it's something I'm sharing with all my officers, and that's going to be the basis for the foundational lesson that I write for the staff college for next year's foundations block. So the first week the officers get here, to teach them how to think and write in that manner, and it'll improve all of the writing that all of those 1,000 officers do now and forever. So there's actually evidence that I'm earning my pay for the good of the Army over there. Now, it also turns out to do all sorts of good things. Like I showed you that one I posted about the don't play chicken with nuclear weapons, nuclear powers, and play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That whole essay was written in about 2 seconds using that AIO style. I simply dictated, I said, write me an essay in AIO style that says we should dramatically change our strategic policy. Instead of spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year funding NATO and creating a climate of hate with Russia and China, we ought to get out of NATO altogether, save that money, and use half of it to create economic incentives to create warm and prosperous relations with Russia and China. And seen. And it turned that into a nice, elaborate, complete argument that was written beautifully. So everything I've tried it on, it does pretty powerful work. So what I would suggest to you is, if you're a parent or a grandparent or just want to improve your own writing, use that prompt with your language model of choice. And what I've noticed over the last 18 months that I've been working with AI extensively every day, the more you use that language to talk to the AI, the better you are as a thinker and writer in all other ways as well. It shapes the way the tool shapes the tool user in that sense. So it's kind of an interesting phenomenon. So it's a critical thinking training tool in a box, and we're going to get to explore that next year. So that's what I've been up to this week, and just enjoying life now that I got a few minutes where I'm not the primary instructor in the classroom like I have been for the last 6 weeks. So it was starting to burn me out a little bit, but all's good here. That's my check-in. Aho.
Are you using Claude for all of your AI?
Yeah.
All the AI work?
Yeah, pretty much. I for all the text stuff. Now there's some other ones that when we're monkeying around with math, there's a couple other that can compete with it pretty well. But 95% of the stuff I'm doing is with concepts and writing. And to me, Claude 3.5 Sonnet plus running it through Koala Writer as a broker and as a rewriter and as a way to gather current information from the web to supplement what the language model comes up with, it's untouchably good compared to all the other things that I write with. The extra sauce you get from Koala is just phenomenal. Really is.
Did you say you're going to put this script out there for us and make it available?
I'm sorry, say it again.
I'm sorry. Did you say you're going to put that script out there for us?
Yeah, I think I posted it in Patreon, but I'm going to put it in the coaching pile too, and I'll send it all to you all directly. I basically wrote a book with it yesterday, an entire book.
Wow.
Scary.
Yeah, I'll look for that. I'm anxious to see that. So thank you.
Yeah, I had it take. So I uploaded my first book, the Foundations Trading Book. I put that into Notebook LM from Google. And I said, give me the top 30 big ideas. So it did. I said, then write me a compound topic sentence around that idea using my book as a reference. And by compound thesis sentence, what I mean is take the idea, explain what it is, why you should know it, how you use it, what a successful end state looks like when you do it right, and what the purpose of doing it is. Then in parentheses, in the same single sentence, give me 10 search engine optimized trigger words that would be associated with that topic sentence. And make sure that it's all grammatically one sentence. So a compound sentence plus 10 parenthetical words and then a period. Because the bulk writer in Koala will recognize that as a single trigger, a seed with many branches it'll produce. So then I can have it write a compound sentence for all 30 sentences. Done. I then say scan those 30 sentences and construct in AIIO language a 3,000 word essay template that will give a uniform format and structure to all of the details for each one of those topic sentences, and include things like the background, the key terms, the way it's used, how does it hit plan, prepare, execute, assess, why it's good for traders, where you can go for more information, why you want to use it, etc. So it constructs that template. I say, excellent. Now, I load up the 30 hand grenades of the topic sentences in Koala's bulk writer, and then in the special instructions add the outline, and it will then process each one of those things and unpack it into a 3,000 word essay in a standard format. It takes about an hour. I then take those and then I say, now construct me a outline that has about 500 to 1,000 words of just the highlights of actionable information. Give me that outline. Write another 30 essays in that abbreviated form. Done. I then say, now give me a 300 word summary of that idea that will inspire you to understand it and why you should strive to learn it. So it's a nice call to action. Do that for all 30. Done. Now consult all of those 3 documents for each big idea, a 300 word, 1,000 word, and a 3,000 word. Said, now construct for me a template for a 30-minute home study lesson that uses those documents as a preparatory reading. Design the lesson plan, the key points to cover, a check on learning with questions and answers and essay questions with sample answers, and construct all of that in a standard lesson plan format, and then put all of those into a book of teaching notes to teach each of those 30 lessons. Done. I can then take that and drop it into Notebook LM again and have it construct a podcast simulated where 2 people are talking about what's in that lesson in for about a 5-minute little spiel about why somebody should be interested in doing that. And it will also generate a separate FAQ and study guide. So I did that yesterday from scratch and wrote an entire home study course with a couple books and all of the supporting infrastructure. So then I emailed that over to this guy in the UK who works at Alpha Mind, Mark Randall, and they do psychology of traders in the UK. And they got about 350,000 subscribers to their podcast. And he and I are going to each write half a book on the psychology of traders and storytelling and stuff like that. So I said, hey, here's 30 chunks. You tell me which ones you think would be useful in my half of the book to support what it is that you want to do. And I just have to give him the 300 word snapshot of those 30 ideas so he can quickly grasp what's going on. So that basically my half of the book is already done in a couple hours. Scary. And it's like, I could, if I wasn't monkeying around for the Army, I could write a book a day before lunch. So anyway, that's some of the goodness that's in that, that all comes out of that facility of and capability of using AI optimally as a human AI partnership, learning how to talk to it. You might have noticed that in the last 5 minutes as I've been describing this, I haven't stuttered or sworn, and I've been unusually clear. That's one of the byproducts of learning to use the AIIO style is you get used to constructing your language in a way that's optimal for the AI. And it turns out that that is optimal for talking to humans. Scary good. That's why I would say teach your children and grandchildren how to do that. I'll give you the book on how to do that too, because that's another. I wrote that book Saturday. Too funny.
Doesn't feel real. It's like, how is this possible?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I just sit here and say, well, of course, I'm on the other side of the looking glass, looking back, and I'm watching my fellow faculty members struggle grading papers, and I said, guys, I'm giving you the keys to the kingdom here. You can take the students' ugly, awful, not good writing and just drop it in and have this thing clean it up and apply a rubric, and it'll suggest the grade. It'll also suggest what they need to do to improve their writing and give them detailed formative feedback so that you don't have to help them like eliminate passive voice from your writing. I can't tell you how many times I've had to, they write a bad sentence and it takes me 3 sentences to explain to them why that sentence is bad. And you just get tired of that with 32 guys to say the same thing over and over. But I could write that in the prompt and have it handle all of the housekeeping chores so that I can comment on some of the larger issues at the grad school level, which is where I want to be working with them.
Have any of the teachers adopted it and are starting to use
Yeah,
it?
the ones that have are true believers, and we're working together on next year's lessons to more broadly incorporate this in the faculty. And we're rewriting our writing guide, and we're including the prompts in the lesson plans for the students so that as they start fumbling around with their ideas, you put it in the prompt because that's what I'm going to do. So you can do that. Now clean it up before I ever see it. And what I noticed this year was that the ideas they were giving me were already very well formed and easy to read and easy to evaluate. And I never had to give them feedback like use Grammarly, spell words correctly, don't use passive voice, be clear and concise. It handled. And they're by far the best papers I've ever received from any year group of the last 20. It's not even close anymore. It's now willful misconduct to turn in a bad paper. Like if they give me a paper that has poor grammar and misspelled words, I take that as a personal insult. It's like, why did you intentionally do that? Why would you do that when it's so easy not to do that? You must be doing this just to piss me off, that kind of stuff. Why are you wasting my time with bad spelling?
Do you ever give it samples of your writing and tell it to write it with your
exactly?
Voice?
Yeah, I have a little prompt that does that. It says, I did that last August. I said, here are 10 examples of my writing that I consider to be my best work. Digest it, analyze it, construct a unique writing profile style sheet that is uniquely me. Label that. And then when I tell you to write like me, write like that. And so I can construct an email or an essay or whatever, and it sounds more like me than me. And that's a good way to maintain the, like a personal touch in the writing. I actually use that when I was writing the foundational trading book. I used that to upgrade the writing all the way through, and I used to write in a very Baroque style, in which as I would start to write, I could imagine some critical person reading what I'd just written and then asking a question or being judgmental. And then I would try to answer it in the same sentence. So you end up getting this very awkward Baroque style of writing, it's mathematically correct, but it's just god awful to read. And I found that as I adopted this more concise style that I could just use shorter sentences and build the argument from scratch and essentially rewrite what I wrote. And so now my current personal writing style looks very much like the AIIO style sheet, just because. And so you get this convergence towards clarity and conciseness. That is pretty cool. So anyway, I will share that stuff with you guys because it has a very wide application for kids, because kids that learn how to speak in that way will always have a job or something to do, because they will know how to make the AI work for them. So there we are. Aho. All right, who's up, and what do we got for tonight? I didn't mean to bogart the microphone there, but